was Gossman and Wood, if I'm not mistaken. How did their stuff look?
Really good. Day one is, I think the pitchers always have an advantage, but from a purely like stuff standpoint, I mean, I think Gosman was up to 97. Wood looked like he was low 90s too, which he's got so much like deception in his windup that that's kind of the thing that is always tough about him. So really liked what I saw out of them early on. Wouldn't mind if I didn't have to face another guy throwing 97 until the middle of the spring. So.
And then with all the additions you guys have made this offseason, what you guys accomplished last year, do you think that this is the best Giants team that you've been on so far?
You know what? It remains to be seen. Obviously, I have a lot of learning to do myself. Learning new names and faces. Like you said, we've added a lot, and it's always fun to see how the spring kind of shapes up as we go through it. And there will always be guys that come into camp that we as a group may not expect to make the team or make an impact that will make an impact and make our team, kind of like a Darren Ruff last year. I think back to springs past and guys coming in that didn't have those expectations and end up being a huge part of the major league club. And so there inevitably will be, one or two guys or maybe even more this year that have a big impact on our club.
Thank you.
And next question's from Alex. Go ahead.
Hey, Evan, first, congratulations on the Bucks. I'm sure that was.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
That's my softball. You ended up playing just about every game last year after you came back and really just about every inning down the stretch. Gabe has talked so much the last couple of years about making sure that you veterans get enough rest and has talked to us about how Tommy can help at third. Do you think that can help you over the course of the season, just not having to be out there for every inning?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've said this from the beginning of my career. I mean, my goal has always been to be on the field for every inning. I think when if I come into camp and go into the year, expecting to have days off, it's kind of like a disservice to myself and to my teammates. So, with that being said, like when we can get, strategic off days or try and get me off of my feet for a little bit more, I do think there's some benefit to that. So I will be, prepared to play as many innings as I'm called on to do. But, that'll be an ongoing conversation with Gabe, I'm sure.
Thank you.
And next question from Susan. Go ahead.
Hey, Evan, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. As a veteran, how do you kind of approach spring training these days? So what are you working on? Are there specific things that you would still like to improve on? How do you approach it?
Well, first, I think it's, every year we say the same thing. I think it's you really can't prepare for the way that your body feels after your first or second or first week of spring training. So, just getting our legs underneath us, getting everything to feel kind of back in sync with the daily grind of playing baseball again. And then, after that, kind of trying to turn in a day's performance where you can kind of improve upon something every day. For me, right now, it's getting back, feeling comfortable seeing velocity. That's something that is really tough to recreate. And so just trying to get that timing back, see live pitches. And I think those two things will probably be my focus, feeling good and trying to get my timing back as quick as I can.
I was watching some of your batting practice yesterday, and your timing actually looked pretty good. Where do you feel like you are with it?
Oh, that was batting practice. So, I hope that I can still hit and look good during BP. So that's nice to hear. But I mean, again, facing those two guys today, it just feels like it's day one of spring training. So there's a lot of work to be done for sure, and feeling like I can be confident and step into the box and feel 100% prepared.
How do you evaluate a season like last year, given how short it was and everything that you guys were dealing with? And how do you evaluate it yourself for your own season?
I thought that we did a ton of good, right? I mean, there was kind of low expectations from the outside on us, and I think from the inside we had a lot of expectations for ourselves as a group, and they should be no different this year. You know, like you said, from the outside it looks like we've gotten better as a group, and it should kind of reflect in the way that we play and our record. So I reflected a lot on the year last year, and obviously there was some games that we gave away and some things that we could have done better to potentially give ourselves a chance to get into the playoffs. But we have to put all that behind us right now and figure out a way to go out and get better and win ball games this year.
Thank you.
Next question from Shay. Go ahead.
Oh, hi there. How are you? I wanted to ask, year 2 with Kapler. It's pretty drastic change last year from Bochy. I imagine there's more familiarity now. What's that like? Is it more comfortable? Are there fewer surprises in spring training this time around?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that as far as the spring one last year, I mean, obviously it was abbreviated, and it was a different year in many ways. But I thought the group as a whole tried to make the transition as smooth as possible. They asked a lot of questions as far as what we did and didn't like about spring trainings past and how they could make it better. And there was a ton of feedback from players, I think, and they took all of that into consideration and made it about as good as it could be. I mean, spring, you have to accomplish certain things in spring. You have to go through the mundane things that you do year in, year out, bunt defenses, base running, cutoffs and relays, all the things that we do every year that now, I mean, the good thing is it's gotten shorter, the time frame between when the practices start and when the game starts. So we don't have to go over those things for 2 weeks, before we actually start playing games. But, that just means that we have to be able to do those things, perfect quicker. We have to learn how to do it as a group and play as a group in that first week. So they've done a really nice job in making the spring practices efficient, and kind of getting guys on and off the field and trying to save some legs, especially early in the spring.
What's the dynamic with you and Stella? He's going to play all around the diamond, including third base. Maybe that's something you didn't have last year, a big presence, left-handed bat who could spell you a little bit over there.
I mean, him and I have just spoken very briefly. Again, I think the addition of a left-handed bat in the lineup and a guy that can get on base like he does, wherever we can put him on the diamond makes our team better. So the goal is to win, any way we can, and by trying to put the best lineup out there that we can.
Maybe one more. You've been around the game for a while, and there's been a whole lot of changes. It seems every week there's something new in this game. But what's the biggest difference in the game since you were a rookie, in your mind?
I don't know, man. That that question could probably go so many different ways. But I will say the one bright spot about COVID is we don't have as many meetings now, and they're shorter. In spring, one of the things that I think the players least look forward to was, having a meeting every other day that lasted a couple hours. So, that being one of the best things that's come out of this whole thing. But I think the biggest change is the analytics. There is kind of a formula for everything now, and I think it makes it really tough on guys to be able to focus on one or two things. And I'm not saying that analytics are bad. I think there's a lot of good things that can come from it. It just makes it really hard for guys to kind of synthesize the information, if they're not used to doing that. So I think our organization as a whole has kind of made that a focus, in terms of like bringing people in that can help us as players understand the information so we can, take what we need out of it and be able to distill it so that we can understand it better. But yeah, I mean, year after year, there's more information coming in, and for players, it's sometimes really hard to understand, where do we start with the info.
Thanks.
Next question is from Andres. Go ahead.
Hi, Longo. Good to see you.
Hello.
Uh,
Good to see
l-
you.
Last season, Brandon Bell and you were captains for many of the young people on the Giants. This year, with the return of Posey and the arrival of La Stella, what is the mentality of the team that has more experienced players?
Well, the good thing about baseball is we don't really have captains. The collective presence of veteran players in the clubhouse, I think, just adds to the ability to kind of help young players along and develop young players. So it's only more beneficial when you have guys like that in the clubhouse. And inevitably, my personal example, I played with a couple of we had like 4 or 5 veteran guys on the team when I was a rookie, both on the pitching side and on the hitting side. And I gravitated towards 2, those guys being Eric Hinsky and Cliff Floyd, and not everybody is going to get along with or want to approach everybody else. Everybody has kind of their guys that they go to, and those were my 2 guys. So when you have more veteran presence around, where guys can kind of pick and choose who they feel most comfortable talking to, it's really beneficial, because sometimes if you're not really comfortable with one person, you may not approach them, and then you may not get the information that you really need. So I really enjoy having other veteran players around, and as one myself, it's just really nice to have that perspective as well.
And how do you feel about coinciding with Jake McGee now in the Giants? Have you spoken to him before his arrival?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just a couple times in the last couple of days. We've got a lot of ex guys that I played with here. Fernando Perez is on the coaching side. Craig Albarnez is on the coaching side. Both guys who were in the minor leagues when I was in the minor leagues with the Rays, and so it's kind of nice to have some familiar faces around. And Jake has been a really good pitcher for a long time, and I think he's looking forward to coming to a place where he feels like he can succeed.
Thank you.
And next question is from Maria. Go ahead.
Hey, Evan. Speaking of former Rays, as the Giants reportedly signed Scott Kazmir, have you kept in touch with him over the years? And what do you think it would be like to see him back in the majors?
I have not really kept in touch with him. I keep in touch with a lot of people that are friends with him and have gone on vacation with him in the past couple of years and know him. And I always really enjoyed Kaz. I loved being around him when we were young players. And this is a guy who was a really special talent. And he's got that a big league ability to throw the baseball. So, I mean, obviously my hope for him is that, and for us as a group, is that he can, kind of rekindle some of that and be a major league pitcher for us.
Thank you.
And last 2 questions. The next one's from Mark. Go ahead.
Hey, Evan. Good to see you. I was actually going to ask about Kazmir, but one more Tommy question. Did they talk to you before or after signing La Stella, about getting you off your feet against righties maybe?
No. I don't have that much input. But I mean, again, I hope that we are able to just put a good lineup out. It's not going to be an issue. You know what I mean? Like I'm not making, those decisions. And so my job is to just prepare myself to play every day. I mean, I feel confident in the fact that if Tommy's out there, he's gonna be beneficial to our lineup. I mean, this is a guy who's proven, he's a proven major league player. and a guy that can definitely, fill the spot and help us win games. So I think when something like that happens, it's not really like replacing an old quarterback or something, and they draft like a young quarterback in the first round. It's like, it's not really the same comparison. These are kind of it's a bigger picture type thing where you're trying to fill some spots and put a guy in the lineup who can help us succeed. So again, I'm open to whatever it takes to help us win.
And physically, I know last year you dealt with the oblique for a while. Did that take any off-season work, and do you feel 100% right now?
Yeah, no, I feel great. I mean, the oblique is completely gone. So, again, going into spring, there's always, that kind of curve of getting your feet back underneath you and your legs feeling healthy again. But other than that, I mean, nothing out of the normal.
Thank you.
And last questions from Susan. Go ahead.
Evan, you've been to so many spring trainings. How does this one feel different, starting things without fans here? You're not signing autographs on your way into the ballpark. There are people crowding around during batting practice, waiting for you to give them gloves or anything like that. Does it seem weird, or is all of this sort of starting to see weirdly normal in a way after going through it last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess, weirdly disappointing, I miss that. I was actually thinking about it when I was coming out of the batting cage, coming onto the field today. It's like those, you kind of take it for granted, but like now, like that little, like those little kind of bursts of adrenaline that you get, like, when you came onto the field, or, when you're going from the backfield to the locker room or whatever it is, where there was like, kind of fans around just like watching you do everything. You realize how much they like kind of boost you through your day, like especially when you're doing like the stuff that you probably really don't want to do, but you understand you have to do. It's like this first week when, like I said, when we're going through the stuff that we know we're going to do, we know it's coming, the routine ground balls, the cutoffs and relays, the pop flies, all the things that, this, like you said, this is going to be my 15th spring. So going through that, you understand you have to do that, but when the fans are there, it's a completely different experience. So, I'm looking forward to hopefully having fans at games. I know they've talked about it. I know there's going to be, I think, a few to start. So that'll be nice to have. That'll be nice to have a little bit of kind of a return to normalcy in terms of that. But I think about, and this is probably off topic, but I think about like how the experience, and this goes for like all kids that are missing out on things in their youth right now, whether it's middle school, high school, whatever it is. Like I think about like the young kids now that are coming to their first camp, or their second camp or whatever it is, and they haven't experienced what it's really like to be a big league player, like that. This part of spring is like the part that's the most fun, because there's no stress. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to worry about getting a guy in, in front of 80,000 at Dodger Stadium. It doesn't really matter here. You're trying to get better and you're trying to work on things towards making a big league team. And so the fun of spring training and having all of the fans around and being able to sign those autographs and, see the enjoyment from the kids' faces and not have the stress was the most fun for me as a kid. And so I just think about, those guys and they don't even know, they don't know what it's like. So they don't really know the difference, but I hope that, before they're into their 15th spring, they can experience that as kids and really take in, spring training as it should be,
Yeah, for sure. How much of a difference do you think even limited fans, like just hearing them during games when they start allowing them will make?
It's going to be a huge difference. Simulated fan noise, having, a couple of ushers in the stadium is, even I think I think they were talking about 750 or 1,000 fans in the stadium. It seems like a small number, but we haven't had any fans. So it's going to seem like a good amount, just to have somebody cheering for you when you take the field and get on base. So
thank you.